This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the new Prologue EV, there's a lot that could impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Soucheray and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
Pat.
Yes, sir.
I have an email from Billy Stein up in Aiken.
All right.
He said he believes he has uncovered a rare combination of end of the world and new foghornable phrase. He said, "Forgive me, but I watched the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games. NBC trotted out and dusted off the redoubtable Katie Couric as commentator.
Sure.
She informed us that many of the visual effects of the ceremony would be seen by the TV audience, but would not be visible by the people in the stadium due to a computer-generated augmented reality. How close are we to the doublespeak 1984? I thought I may have misheard her, but there she was Sunday night extolling the wonderful augmented realities of the Olympic Games." What the hell are augmented realities?
Well, I think it's like watching a Star Wars movie in 2018 instead of the original, which they did all the stuff.
Yeah.
Right? They had to build a ship and take now, it's computer generated. Amenities apparently are offered to the broadcast. You're not only, now I guess if they were going to have Queen Elizabeth jump out of the helicopter like she did in London,
Yeah.
they just maybe computer generated. I guess that's what I'm guessing. What the augmented is. It doesn't sounds cheesy to me, doesn't it? But don't we when you're paying probably $3,000 a pop to go to the opening ceremonies, you should get to see everything.
I want to see it all.
I had forgotten that the Queen jumped out of the chopper.
Yeah, she
That was
did.
pretty good.
It was a pretty damn good performance for her. She had to be what then? 80, didn't she?
Oh yeah,
I don't know. She's 90 now. She had to be 80.
What are you sweltering down there?
It is a little steamy today, but it's beautiful up here in the press box right now. I would say it's perfectly comfortable, although I did hear some of the locals saying it's a little too hot for this time of year, but not for me. It's low 80s, I guess.
That's why you're there.
A little humidity, yes. That's exactly
I can
right.
smell the ocean.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And that's salt water.
You got to get a little closer to smell it than I am out here in the jungle. But that's
I know,
okay.
but that humidity would remind me of the sea.
Yes. Now you and I took the same joy in watching Ted Potter Jr. Stare down Dustin Johnson yesterday, only giving up 50, 60 yards on the driving holes.
Right.
It was amazing. It was, and this guy. Now, I tweeted out a couple hours early in the match. I said, this guy looks like somebody who shows up at 3:45 p.m. every summer day to get the Twilight-rated Chamonix, you know?
Yep.
And then somebody else said, I'm surprised he got 4 days off of Pep Boys to end up playing in this tournament. And then you suggested perhaps he was a security guard at a mall.
Well, in fact, he looks... I can't put my finger on it. I know somebody who looks like him. He's up against, the probably the best athletic golfer in the history of the world.
Yes.
In Dustin Johnson. And as you say, 75 yards shy of him every time you got to have a driver in your hand. And he beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, he's. I was reading more stuff about him today. Apparently, he's his caddy. He's had a lifelong buddy of his as his caddy, and has been caddying for him on every goofy tour there is out there, Hooters, and he was on something called the Moonlight Tour, which is a one-day event thing somewhere in Florida or someplace. But he apparently isn't a real sit-up guy or
No.
isn't a real workout guy. He just likes to hit golf balls.
And he's a lefty.
Yeah, he's a natural right-hander who ended up hitting left-handed. So
I think that's true of Phil, that he
Phil's a
mimicked
natural
his
right-hander.
father by standing opposite him, and that turned him into a left-handed golfer, but he's a right-handed and everything else.
But he was an automaton yesterday. He never hit a bad shot. He just hit it in the middle of the fairway. How about poor Troy Merritt from Spring Lake Park, our local guy? Hits one and it stays in the tree, and he makes 8. Cost him thousands,
Cost him a lot of
tens
money.
of thousands of dollars. He had a chance to tie for second, and he ends up probably 20th or so.
Now most of the big hitters are going to go to L.A. for the Riviera.
I think Eldrick's going to show up there,
Yeah, he
right?
is.
At Riviera, yes.
And Potter, he makes $1.3 million and gets himself an invite to the Masters.
Yes, he does. And as Phil said, another course made for lefties. Phil said that Pebble Beach favors lefties, and he also said, and Augusta, of course, always legendary for favoring lefties. So who knows? He hits it like that. Now Augusta's longer than. They don't play Pebble Beach way back like they do at the U.S. Open for this one. They only played at what, 7,100 or something like that.
How good a golfer must Larry Fitzgerald be? He must be pretty good.
They say he's a 13.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He won the Pro-Am.
I played with his daddy. I said on Twitter that maybe he's a sandbagger just like his daddy.
Yeah.
Oh, he won it easy. They won it by what, 6-7 strokes. So I checked today. I was trying to get him on the air to talk about it, and I talked to his dad today. And his dad said that Larry was in the air heading for the Olympics, where he's making appearances for Visa. So he was kind of on a world tour here. But that kid has really turned out to be something. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame football player, big personality. Loves to go to events. Big charity guy too. Terrific charity guy. So and comes back home and does clinics for undernourished kids and stuff like that. He's a hell of a kid.
Are you watching any of the Olympics?
Wait. Before you, let me interject here because I just thought of this. Brad Lane just brought me in some 1,500 ESPN golf balls for the Venture Bank Minnesota Golf Show.
I think he meant to give those to me.
Well, I only got one.
Oh.
He's probably going to give you the rest of the box. And a tee, but it reminded me, Steve Rushin from Sports Illustrated did the sports shirt stag at Nativity this year.
Yes.
He was the featured speaker. I had never met him. I had no idea what he was like in person, even though I've read his stuff. He talked about some great things in Minnesota, and he came back one year to play golf with Governor Ventura.
Okay.
And, of course, they played up at, where are they, Edinburgh or TCP, whatever they, I forget where they played.
Well, the mayor is, the governor is a member of TPC Twin Cities, or he was.
That must be where
But
they
it
played.
could have been.
then.
He could have also been playing for free at Edinburgh. Too.
True. Well, they were playing, and they were just, casually chatting and having a good time. And then they came to a water hole, and the governor gets out his extender, and he's looking for balls in the drink. And Steve says,
Man
Governor,
after
what
my
are
own
you?
heart.
He says, what are you doing? Steve, these Callaways are about $5 a pop, and you can find a whole bunch in here and come out with a bag. He said it was it was bizarre. It was charming, but it was very bizarre. And Brad handing me this golf ball reminded me that he was going through, and he wasn't wasted any. He was going after it. He had the ball retractor.
I can identify. I think I like finding golf balls better than playing golf.
It's more satisfying.
Yeah.
Well,
but at $5 a pop.
Yeah.
When Russian told that story, it didn't surprise you at all.
No, I was
having worked with him.
I was looking around the room going, yeah, and everybody else was laughing as if they heard it the first time.
Still trying to get your free Big Mac from the Timberwolves scoring 100 points or whatever it was. Right?
I should just go get a receipt and just mail him a couple. Just mail them out.
Is he off the grid? Is he in Mexico? We don't even know, do we?
He splits his
for
time
the winter. Yeah.
I'm sure he's down off the grid right now, but where he's at locally here, he has been seen and heard because My daughter just drove home a neighbor who said they walk their dog somewhat often.
Still out Pine Tree Way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he doesn't want anybody to know where he lives, which is why he's got Ventura Highway written all over the front gate. Or at least he did when the last time I saw it.
You know, when I was doing my golf series all the time, I played it with a guy at Meadowbrook who would tee off at 4:30 every morning and wear, it wasn't night goggles, but he wore some kind of yellow tinted goggles that he thought made him see better. Mm-hmm. And he'd go out every morning at 4:30 and find golf balls, and then he'd sell them to people. He'd have a trunk full, like you could get 50 of them for, $4 or something. Now, some of them had been buried in the woods for 20 years. Well, they weren't the highest of quality, but he was a beauty, that guy.
Why don't we take a break?
You'd hit a ball, and then you had to look for 20 new ones, different ones.
Live in the TCL broadcast studios, Patrick. Is Butler locked in to be a Timberwolf next year?
Yes. Yeah.
And then it's up in the air.
Then after that, he will be a free agent
Okay.
unless he signs an extension or something. Yes.
They won last night.
Yeah, it wasn't easy against a bad team. They got a tough schedule coming up right now. Houston, they got 12 games here coming up, 9 really tough ones, including 3 against Houston, which is probably right with Golden State, the best team in the league right now. So
let me ask you guys something. How can you pay attention to other sports when the Olympics are going on?
I was just saying earlier, Kenny, I wish there was an app, there probably is, that would beep me to alert me to watch downhill skiing. That's really all I want to see.
You like the speed around the gates and that
Love
stuff?
when they throw themselves down a mountain.
What Lindsay does.
Yep.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
That is impressive.
I like what Lindsay does.
I was telling Rook here off the air, I'm pretty sure I could step into that ski jumping today and gold medal right away. That looks like the easiest thing in the world. Yeah.
Well,
you're locked in. Oh, you go up in the air, you put your arms back, you land, boom, you're done, you win.
Yeah.
Apparently, the wind is howling there and screwing.
Well, it's too
up.
wintry. It's the winter games, but they're saying it's too wintry.
Yeah, but there's certain events you can't compete in normally, and with a 30-mile-an-hour wind is blowing.
Right. They were having problems yesterday on the, I think they call it slope style with the ski boards.
Snowboarding.
Yeah, they were having
killing each other. Yeah, they were falling on
you're
their
right.
face.
Watching the ski jumps, they'd go sit on the rail, then they'd come off, then they'd go sit on the rail, and I guess it was just freezing up there.
Mm-hmm.
What about the luge? You think you could try it? You think you could do the luge, Such?
No.
Really?
No, I don't want any part of it.
That looks tough to you, huh?
I'd only get in a bobsled, again, if it looked like the one that the guy in Wilmer made to go off his roof.
What if
I don't want anything that's going to go 400 miles an hour.
Wilmer's Rocket Man?
I want the Rocket Man sleigh. I want the bobsleigh.
My Olympic total at the moment is about 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't do much for me.
So talking to the wife yesterday, and I didn't realize this was such a big issue. I said, well, now that they've gold medal, they've got nothing to do for the next 2 weeks. They just basically get drunk and bang. Mm-hmm. And she goes, not only that, they have left a record amount of condoms this year at the Olympic, like hundreds of thousands.
Don't we hear that every year, though?
Every year.
Isn't it like after a Munchkin party?
And
It's almost an Olympic story. How many condoms did we distribute?
It is a story, and they've distributed more this year than they ever have in the past because I guess it's just nonstop knocking boots once you've medaled.
Well, a lot of them do go home, too. More so in the summer, I think. These
who's
people
done
don't have anything
already?
else to do.
I think it starts with the 2-man luge too. Those are the guys that are really, you got Ed up there keeping you warm.
Hey, you know
hey,
what?
Jack, don't get excited back
You've been
there.
working for 4 years. You're done. Why not live it up? You
but
got
who's
to.
done already? They just started.
Some of them have already got gold medals, don't they?
Yeah,
Some of the skaters.
Red does.
What I do love is the figures. They know all the women like to watch figure skating, so they keep inventing new figure skating events like team competition, so they can keep them skating every night, even though it's completely made up horse crap.
Did you watch any last night, Patrick? Of any of the figure skating?
No, I did not.
Oh, my
This
God.
was team now, right?
No, it was individual last night, and this Russian chick was unbelievable. I have to say, I was pretty impressed.
I thought we weren't going to let them show up, and now they're winning everything.
Yeah.
They're the athletes from the country of Russia.
Right.
And they don't get to have a anthem when they win because it's a lousy anthem anyway and boring.
Well, and you got that screwball sister hanging around, and
No,
everybody
she
acts-
went home.
Oh,
She
good.
went
Get
home.
rid of her. She's the minister of propaganda and agitation, which sounds like something you'd be.
If he goes to North Korea, we got a replacement. Pat's going to be the.
I'll be your agitation guy.
Did you see any of the women's hockey?
I did not.
It was really competitive and a lot of fun until this morning when South Korea got beat 8-0.
By who?
I think it was Sweden or Finland or somebody like that.
Switzerland beat them 8-0 the other day.
Has there been
Well,
any
they're not-
men's hockey yet?
Hey, Kenny,
don't think
this
so.
poor gal who played at UMD and was born in Faribault.
Lamoureux?
No, the coach, Murray.
Oh.
Sarah, the coach, Sarah Murray, I think her name is was coaching the Korean team for 4 years, and then at the last minute they said, "Okay, we're sending you 12 North Koreans, and you have to have at least 3 of them on the ice at one time."
Oh, boy.
So they, with about 2 weeks to go beforehand, 12 North Koreans showed up, and now she had to change her team, and they weren't going to be very good anyway.
All right, and you've got me terribly confused. There's one Korean women's hockey team?
There's
Yes,
Korea.
it's joint.
Everything in Korea is joint.
I'll be
Okay.
damned.
So that's
And-
the team I saw this morning then, Pat.
Yes, and they have to have 3 North Koreans in a lineup at all times.
Oh,
Wow.
let me tell you, they looked like the Wild on last Thursday night. They were just awful.
The one where Matthew Mikulski was ready to just pack it in.
There's a gal from Minnesota was born in Korea, got adopted, and now she's playing for the team. She said when she joined the team, they had to teach them how to get over the boards.
Oh boy.
So
boy.
the fact they're only losing 8-0 is a triumph.
What about the Lamoureux twins though are playing for us? And,
Still?
I think so. I swear I heard their names were mentioned.
Well, I don't know why they just don't let everybody else play and then have the U.S. play Canada for the gold medal for the 23rd straight time.
All the stick and ball nerds around here are pretty upset that the NHLers can't play. It doesn't bother me at all. Well, I don't mind watching amateurs play. What's the big deal?
What did the NHL finally determine they couldn't afford this?
Yes,
Yeah.
they didn't, especially going to Korea on
Right.
goofy times of night that they'd be playing. There was nothing in it for the NHL.
No, it was costing them too much.
Well, it cost them 3 weeks primo season,
Right.
2 weeks. So,
But they're playing amateurs from around the world, so what's the big deal, right?
well, I think the Russians got a lot. They closed down that pro league of theirs, the KHL, which is the second best league in the world, and they got a bunch of their better players, not the NHL ones, but the very good ones.
Our Wild, by the way, continue to be unknowable. It just
They beat the Blackhawks. As bad
Blackhawks
as they
aren't very
wanted to.
good.
No, it's amazing that they have fallen off the cliff.
Well, hold that thought, Patrick. We're going to take a break and. I guess there's some commie curler we're supposed to be all excited about.
Really?
Anastasia Brizlagova.
Okay, hang
Haven't
on a
seen
sec.
her.
What
Haven't
about
seen her.
Cheryl Bernard? Nobody can replace Cheryl Bernard.
I don't think she's back,
dat?
though, is she? She was the Canadian housewife.
Like that
that-
redhead,
Oh,
yeah.
I do remember.
Well, this
her.
commie's a good looker. She's a
really?
good looker. Yeah.
There's a lot of Ruskies over there that are good looking.
I think it's going to be on 4 o'clock our time, CNBC, if I remember right.
Here's John.
By the way,
Haidt.
Joe,
Yeah.
6:29 a.m. right now, and it's 6:29 a.m. tomorrow in Korea right now. So.
All right. Here's John.
Hey, I
Haidt.
got one for you, Johnny Height.
Yes, sir.
A
Did
joke?
you know North Korea has a half-hour different time than South Korea? Just to be contrary, I found that out myself.
I found that out from your tweet the other day.
Yes, because I typed in Pyongyang instead of Pyongyang Chang, and it was a half-hour different.
Yeah. half hour, and people were trying to explain.
Probably cost you some Twitter readers.
Does she look determined, Kenny?
Yeah, I love the concentration on the face of the curlers. They are willing. Hey, have you seen the two-man curling team? Now that's fun.
Do they ride piggyback?
Really?
No, like luge. Hey, a little more to the left, Larry.
No, the gal that throws the rock, as soon as she throws it, she
Starts sweeping like a son of a gun.
Chases it down and starts sweeping. It's fascinating.
Partly cloudy.
Okay.
You don't seem that interested, Pat. Oh, my.
She's not curling on the beach there.
Not curling.
I found your Russian, Such.
Anastasia, she's a curler.
Scantily clad.
She's married to her curling partner.
Okay, then. She's off limits.
Few clouds and 11 degrees.
John's struggling mightily to get a word in.
The Wild's Devin Dubnyk is the third star of the week in the NHL. He was 2-0-1 during the week. Had a shutout and a 1.96 goals against average for the week. The Wild will play the Rangers tomorrow night at the Xcel Energy Center.
So you guys...
Johnny, I got a question for you. Are we just going back to riding the horse here with Doobie? Is Stalock getting pushed to the side?
We haven't heard from Mr. Stalock for a while.
Not
I
lately.
He
think
spends
you're
too
right.
much time out of the net. He's hard to watch. It's very frustrating watching that guy. But you say the Hawks are bad. They're not as bad as the Coyotes, right?
No, they're not. The Coyotes trounced the Wild.
Yeah, and we shut out the Blackhawks. So what's going on there?
Well, according to Judd, don't get too excited about it.
I'm done. I'm picking another team.
Kenny, they've made it very easy to be uninterested in them.
They're just so maddening. It's so irritating to see what we saw last Thursday.
I'm taking a different viewpoint. They're laying in the weeds. Remember last year when all expectations were high?
John, you got no shot.
They're laying in the weeds right now.
No. News notes from today. KARE 11's news director is stepping down, Jane Helmke. She's been with KARE for 35 years, hasn't been news director that long. She was named news director in 2011. She's stepping down to spend more time with her family. She's been on personal leave so she could assist her partner who's battling cancer. Stacey Nogi, the assistant news director, is continuing to run news operations on a daily basis, and a station spokesperson said it's just starting the process of looking for a full-time replacement for Helmke. She started 35 years ago as an intern. Helmke did, moved her way up the ladder. Minnesota State Patrol says the driver of a semi that went off Highway 71 near Sauk Center this morning and into the Sauk Lake was able to exit the vehicle.
Yeah, what was he carrying, John?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't? I thought that's why you brought it in.
No,
he was carrying, to quote the story, animal parts. It was a rendering try.
Did we think he nodded off or what? Did he get a little sleepy?
I don't know.
What happened?
We don't know, Pat.
Sergeant Jesse Grabo of the State Patrol said the driver suffered injuries that are not considered life-threatening. It happened about 9:45 this morning.
He fell asleep.
Grabo said the semi reportedly got up on the guardrail, then went over the overpass and into the lake.
Big mistake when we started cracking down on amphetamines with truck drivers. Keep them awake. That's the secret of success.
Taking little white pills, and my eyes are open wide, as the song says.
That's right.
Entertainment news, local. Hamilton finally will show up in Minneapolis in August. A 6-week run of the blockbuster musical at the Orpheum will kick off the Hennepin Theater Trust 2018-2019 season. It's a musical, if you're not familiar with it. Everybody pretty much is, I think. Adapted from Lin-Manuel Miranda, who also originated the lead. It comes from Ron Chernow's best-selling biography of Alexander Hamilton, tracing his rise to power from his college days to serving as the first Secretary of the Treasury to his meeting with Aaron Burr on a dueling field.
It's not a completely accurate rendering of his life history, though, is it, Jenny?
I don't think so.
I think we drift off a little time-wise and stuff.
But the ending is
You got to
real.
put songs in it. It can't be accurate.
There are songs, yes, many songs.
Who knows? Alexander might have been a crooner.
He didn't. He was tone deaf.
He was tone deaf. Another state fair concert announced. After all, the state fair is only 6 months away from
Yes, it is.
Jason Mraz will headline Tuesday, August 28th.
Well, you might see him, John.
I might. There's things by him I don't mind, but I probably won't go see him.
Hum a few bars. How would I know him?
This is the third show announced so far for this year's fair. Opening night will be Niall Horan, who I believe is a one that the teenagers go wild for, the teenage gals.
Huh?
Then on Friday, August 24th, Sugarland will play the fair, and Mraz now announced for the following Tuesday.
John, you weren't here for this musical coincidence Friday,
Uh-oh.
but Kenny was. So Linda Ronstadt was our Friday Fun Fest musical guest.
It scared the hell out of me, John, when I found out.
And so I looked up to see her romantic life, right?
Sure.
See who, because she had an interesting one, and the real love of her life was J.D. Souter, right? The first guy, right?
Okay.
So now I look to see what happened to him. He was playing at Hopkins Saturday night.
I actually knew
Saturday night.
that. Yeah. I love that venue. So
I thought it
always
was quite
check
the
their concerts.
coincidence. That's what I thought.
Brooke, is that Jason Mraz?
Yeah, a little montage.
A montage?
Sounds like a gal.
This is awful.
Sounds like a gal. Is he a gal?
He's a lover, not a
He
fighter.
has two different kinds of music. One would be the stuff you'd hear on the top 40 stations.
Oh, this is just awful.
John, I'm confusing him with Alan Stone.
Yes.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, never mind. You ain't going to see this guy.
No. Mraz will
This guy
play.
could be in Hamilton.
This one
Well,
makes
no,
me
no,
want to put
more-
an ice pick in my ears.
Now, will you guys shut up and listen to me for a second?
Okay.
Mraz will pull out an acoustic guitar and do songs alone, and he's quite good doing that.
So you got to sit through all that other garbage.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, probably at the concert, you probably have to sit through a lot of the garbage. So.
Yeah, there's
Sounds
not
like
enough
that
weed in the world to get me to go to that.
Sounds like that annoying little guy Ed Sheeran. Boy, I can't stand him.
He's a little more lively.
Chicks love
than
Ed Sheeran, man.
He creeps me out.
I guarantee you Ed Sheeran puts his wiper blades up when it's snowing out.
Oh, yes.
And if Pat walked by him at a concert, he would whack him right off. Right.
In Massachusetts, police in the city of Barnstable have arrested a man they dubbed the Obit Bandit. He would break into people's homes while they attended wakes or funeral services for loved ones.
What famous author lived in Barnstable?
I don't know.
Kurt Vonnegut.
Kurt Vonnegut.
Before he moved to the city, he moved to Manhattan then, right?
No, I know that, Pat, but he lived in Barnstable for a
okay,
while.
right.
He was out on the
Because he and Wicker lived in the same building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Wicker and his wife lived in the same building in New York.
I wonder how long it would have taken me to get that.
Long time.
Probably.
35-year-old Randy Brunell of Plymouth arrested after he allegedly broke into a home in the Contuit neighborhood of Barnstable. He was found with several items of stolen jewelry in his pockets. Barnstable police said in a post on its Facebook page the homeowner had been attending her mother's wake at the time of the heist.
That's a bad guy.
Yeah,
right there,
karma
isn't he?
there. Karma when you go to the
Bad
pearly
guy.
gates. And there was this incident.
He actually, there's about 6 recent incidents, and he had already served time in prison for doing the same thing in 2012, using the same MO.
So when it starts happening, they know where to look, I take it.
Yes. He happened to be in the area. That's how they discovered it was him. They stopped him and found all the stuff in his car. So, authorities say heavy fog apparently a factor in a fatal crash on a southern Wisconsin highway today that involved about 20 vehicles. Dane County Sheriff spokeswoman Elise Schaefer said one person died, 6 others injured in the pileup on eastbound Highway 18 just south of Verona this morning. One of the 6 injured was transported to the hospital by a helicopter. Sheriff's officials say poor visibility due to heavy patches of fog believed to be a contributing factor. The sheriff's office said uninjured drivers and passengers were taken to the Verona Fire Department. The eastbound lanes were expected to be closed until late this afternoon.
Did you see what we had down here in Florida? The 99-year-old guy who was on the wrong side of the highway and killed 2 teenagers.
Oh, no.
And then he just died this morning. So
The 99-year-old fella?
99-year-old, but he ran into 2 teenagers. So.
Yikes.
Probably best for him that he didn't
Take
make
them
it 'cause-
keys away when you get to be about 90.
He wouldn't be
I
able
would
to
think.
live with himself.
If he had any family members, wouldn't you,
Yeah.
seriously just say,
Yes.
hey, Pops, how about you give me the keys?
At that point,
I don't
though,
think I'd be that nice.
And just take them? You
Yeah.
just take them away.
you just keep
Yeah.
hiding the keys.
Yeah. What's he going to do? You just push him back down in his chair.
That's right, Kenny.
Shut up, Grandpa.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't feed him.
Watch the bobber, Grandpa.
Kenny won't let me talk over this song.
Oh, isn't this wonderful? You missed it. Royce spent a lot of time talking about this movie. Was it Thursday, Pat?
Yeah,
I heard
Samuel
that.
Jackson.
Oh, you were here.
I was
That's
here.
right.
Yeah. Pat, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Because you're in Florida and I'm here.
Yes.
This is a bit of an on-air meeting. Did you send me an email today?
Yes, I did.
Saying it was a 2-word thing about the Olympics, right?
Yes, I sent
Snowboarding?
you a thing about the snowboarding. Yeah.
Did you know on the bottom of that there's about 3 stories about Sal Mineo?
Oh, well, that is today in history.
Oh, okay.
It's today in history. He got stabbed to death today in 1976.
I was very confused. I thought at first somebody may have hacked you because all of a sudden here was.
Well, I thought maybe you had urges for
What
sale
movie
or
were you
something.
referring to?
Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown, yeah.
When she's driving off into it's played throughout the movie, but when she's driving off at the end, that's the movie.
Were you here when we talked about it, Such? I was. Wait, my microphone stand's falling apart. Careful. I was so upset at the end of the movie. She invites him along. Let's run off together. We got all this cash.
Don't ruin it for me.
I'm this big, buxom, gorgeous black babe, and I'm asking you, dumb cracker, to come with. And he's like,
Yeah, he
nah,
knew.
I think I'm going to stay here in South Central. Give me a break.
He knew she'd find some big hunk of a guy and drop him like a bad habit in about 2 days.
That's okay. It'd be worth it. Be worth it.
A story that, it has a sad ending, but a woman has died after being hit by a train while taking a selfie with a friend on a railroad track in Thailand. Wow.
Okay.
The victim, named locally as 28-year-old Wailalak Sakuma, had been drinking with a group of friends near the Samson train station in Bangkok's Phaya Thai district before the incident at 4 in the morning local time. She was hit while trying to take a picture with an outgoing train in the background, but failed to spot an oncoming train approaching the station.
Nothing good happens at 4 a.m.
That's what my alarm should say when it goes off.
Right.
A man who is believed to be a work colleague of the victim was also knocked unconscious by the train, suffering a head injury and a broken arm. The group regularly apparently hung out near the railway station drinking beer, according to officials. One official saying the difference is that this time they were taking selfies, too. Their friend said they didn't see the train approaching on the platform. The number of selfie deaths has risen from 15 in 2014 to more than 70 in 2016 in that area of the world, according to the latest data available. And in fact, Mumbai recently announced a selfie ban in 16 areas of the city in response to a higher number of selfie deaths being reported in India.
I'm proud to say I've yet to take one.
Selfie?
Yep.
Put him in a train.
Every time I do it, I've got it aimed the wrong way.
So at least you've tried.
I get a picture of something. But
Joe, there's a button on your phone. You just hit it and it reverses
I don't want to
everything.
fool with that.
Update on the story from last week. Remember the sketch, the suspect sketch that we all made fun of?
Ding, yeah.
Police say that sketch helped investigators identify a suspect in a theft from a Pennsylvania farmer's
They
market.
arrested Jason Mraz?
It's a remarkable likeness.
It really is, the side-by-side pictures.
Yeah.
Yes. Lancaster
Well, you didn't know that was already out when you read the story last week. That's what I was trying to tell you.
Was it?
Yeah,
Well, I hadn't
because
seen
they had the suspect.
Oh, you weren't here Friday.
They
I
had
was
the
not here Friday.
They had
That's CAT scan money for Johnny.
they had the suspect and the drawing side by side.
Oh, so this is an old story. is
That's
what
an
you're
old
telling
story, John.
me. Wow. All right, we'll skip that
Well, it's
one.
nothing Reavers wouldn't have done.
Where is Francis
Hey,
anyway?
isn't it kind of nice that it's drama-free today? There's not really a lot of drama
Did we
going on.
finally take away his pass key or what? What's going on?
I
Where's
think he's
Francis?
someplace warm.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
he
I
is.
guess he's the smart one.
Yeah.
Him and Royce. Royce is at like 87 down there. Is that what
It
I'm
is.
hearing?
I don't know what it is. It's very nice, though.
Well, I'll tell you because I got to look it up.
I was just thinking about Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
And you know what Tarantino did? He revitalized Robert Forster's career with that movie.
Yeah.
He pretty much disappeared from the face of the earth. He's been in a lot of stuff ever since then.
He was
83, Kenny.
Yeah, he was really good in that. That's a little too balmy, Such.
Not for me.
A little too hot.
No, I love it.
Too hot. Patrick, I'm sorry, I know you hate these stories. Pediatricians in Los Angeles said they were treating an 11-year-old boy's skin abscess when they made an unusual discovery. A live snail inside the wound.
Oh my God!
How's that happen, John?
Why
Well,
would you do this?
So is
Dr.
he eating undercooked escargot or
No,
what?
no.
Okay.
Dr. Albert Kate, an assistant professor of pediatrics at Loma Linda University in Los Angeles, said in a case report published by the website BMJ Case Reports that an 11-year-old boy came into the pediatric ward with a skin abscess about a week after he had scraped his elbow in a tide pool on a California beach.
We are.
Kate said he and his colleagues followed regular procedure for such wounds by lancing and draining it. They soon discovered a hard object measuring 0.02 inches in diameter. Closer inspection revealed the object was a snail, later identified as a checkered periwinkle marine snail. Kate said he was...
So they're like leeches, huh, Johnny? They like to suck that blood.
I wonder if they didn't get it out if he would have just been really slow all his life.
Come on, cross the street, Billy.
I'm getting there. I'm coming.
I'm running as fast as I can.
The doctor said he was surprised to find the snail was still alive. Kate said doctors figured this out, that the boy apparently had gotten the snail's egg embedded in his elbow when he scraped it, and the mollusk later hatched inside the boy's
Why
arm.
the hell would you bring this story in?
So what we've learned here is that snails have a very rapid gestation period. Is that what you're
Apparently,
telling me, John?
very quickly.
Not like elephants, which
No.
take like a year and a half, much quicker.
You know, when you birth a giraffe, they're walking within an hour.
Well, okay.
All right.
I'm glad to hear it.
Your bobber's still up, or looks like you got a fish on, boy.
Did you hear about the
I'll just
snail?
stay here in the back of the boat.
Did you hear about the snail that wanted to buy a car? He
Look
went to
at
the
that
dealership.
escargot.
Wow. God.
Look, it's a 40-year-old joke.
You do 40-year-old jokes for a living. Just let him have his punchline.
All right, Ruck, go and do it.
Okay, I will. So the snail walks into the snail walks very slowly into the dealership, and as he's talking to the car salesman, he says, "I'll take that Cadillac right over, but you got to do me a favor. I want a big S painted on the passenger side, and a big S painted on the driver's side, and an S painted on the hood and the trunk of the car."
Yeah.
And the sales guy says, "Well, why do you want to do that, Mr. Snail?" And the snail looks at him and says, "Because when I drive by, I want people to say, 'Look at that S car go.'"
I had a hunch that was going to be the
I did
punchline.
Well, yeah, because he told you. That's
funny stuff.
Everybody that had not heard the joke was filled with
No,
suspense.
yes, right.
I have never seen Rook look so disappointed as when Joe blurted that out.
I'm sorry,
that
man.
one, that hurt.
I
That one
didn't. I
kinda-
thought you would have been aware that that's been around for 50
Every
years.
time somebody on this side of the glass tries to play radio, that side of the glass sabotages it.
You know, and
Well, it's vice versa too.
but
You got a point.
I heard that joke for the first time in 1983, and it was in a movie about these two investor brothers that lived
Watch
in
yourself.
Philadelphia.
Careful. Watch
And
yourself.
They lost it all on frozen orange juice concentrate.
Is there a problem, officer?
I haven't said anything. I've said nothing.
Oh, look at the time.
Well, Rook, you got to take us to break.
I can do that because I want to talk about MetaFast.
What do you got coming up from the warm south?
Hey, we'll have some golf talk. We'll have Andrew Kramer talking about the Vikings not letting Kid Stefanski go to the New York Giants, even though they didn't give him the job as offensive coordinator. And Mark Topkin covers the Rays for the Tampa Bay Times, and there are rumors the Twins are trying to obtain a pitcher, either Chris Archer or more likely Jake Odorizzi from the Rays, and we'll ask him about that.
Were the Twins ever in the Yu Darvish hunt?
Well, they made an offer, but
Yeah.
I don't think they got beyond $100 million. So 5 years, $110 million, something like that. That was not going to get her done.
I'm not sure they're going to live to regret that anyway.
I don't think it will be the worst thing ever, but they do have to get some pitcher in there for sure. That's for sure.
1500 ESPN is KSTP, St. Paul, Minneapolis. It is 11 degrees. The Ride with Royce is up next.